All right. Well, welcome everyone to our Wonder Week webinar series. Today's webinar focuses on the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. My name is Emily Walters. I'm an admissions and PhD recruiting specialist. So I will be here to give you a brief overview of Northeastern and a little bit of information on the application process a bit later on in the webinar. I'm joined today by Dr. Andy Myers, as well as one of our student ambassadors, Melanie Marino, who is currently in one of the civil and environmental engineering programs. So after my brief introduction, I will pass it over to the department so you can learn a lot more about the different programs within the civil and environmental engineering department. I do just want to remind everyone that we have the Q&A feature enabled. So as we're going through the webinar, please feel free to ask any questions. There's a good chance your questions might be answered on a later slide. So we'll do our best to anticipate your questions. We'll be active in that Q&A feature, but we'll also save some time at the end to answer your questions live as well. So getting started with just a little overview of Northeastern at a bird's eye view. We are a top-ranked R1 research and experiential learning university. We are ranked #1 in co-op and internships, and we'll talk a little bit more specifically about that later on. Northeastern is comprised of 10 colleges and schools with over 50,000 students total. We have degrees all the way to the doctorate level and over 296 million external research awards. We are located in Boston. That is where our flagship campus is, but we do have a global campus system made up of over 13 different campuses. And just to give you a little bit of an idea of what that looks like, all of our programs and all the programs that you'll hear about in today's webinar are hosted on ground on our Boston campus. We are popping up some of our graduate engineering programs on these global campuses, and you'll hear a little bit more about that as well, and especially if you're attending other Wonder Week webinar sessions. But the programs that we will talk about today are specifically on our Boston campus. And just to break down the College of Engineering so you get a little bit of an idea of what we look like, we have over 10,000 students total, and you can actually see a majority of those are graduate students with over 6,000. We offer PhD, master's, and bachelor's within the College of Engineering as a whole, over 110 academic degrees, certificates, and minors. We have over 403 full-time faculty and 248 tenure or tenure track faculty. And within the College of Engineering, over $104 million of external research awards. You'll see throughout this webinar, and just a common theme throughout, that research is very important here at Northeastern and is one of our thrusts. We are ranked number 34 Best Engineering Graduate School and 35 Best Engineering Undergrad School. And the College of Engineering is made up of all of our departments that you see here. And as I mentioned, of course, today we're focusing on civil and environmental engineering. And again, just a little bit more of a breakdown of the programs offered within the College of Engineering. We have over 32 master's degrees, 9 PhD programs, and many additional bachelor's, minors, and graduate certificates. And then over to the right-hand side, you'll see the breakdown of the current graduate programs that we offer on those global campuses that I mentioned earlier. And just to highlight our faculty within the College of Engineering, like I mentioned, over 245 tenure track faculty, and within those faculty, over 160 Young Investigator Awards, 76 NSF Career Awards, 115 Professional Society Fellowships, and 3 NAE memberships. And these two photos here focus on some of the newer facilities on our Boston campus. We're continuously growing and adding these outstanding facilities so that our students can learn in a very innovative environment. The photo you see to the left is our ISEC building, comprised of lots of labs. And the photo to the right is a brand new building on our campus. Again, lots of lab space, maker space, very innovative so that our students are able to not only do their research, but have ample study space. And to highlight the research, we have over 20 multidisciplinary research centers and institutes that are funded by 8 federal agencies. And the 3 different research thrusts that are mainly focused on here at Northeastern are health, sustainability, and security. And again, just a little bit of a breakdown of those research centers and institutes. And before I go ahead and hand it over to Dr. Myers, just a little bit about our College of Engineering mission. As an academic institution, our main product is people. Our success is based on the quantity and quality of the people we produce. And we produce transformative engineers, both students and faculty, with global impact. So with that, I will take a step back. I will go ahead and hand it over to Andy to go ahead and introduce you to the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. You'll hear from me a little bit later, but without further ado, I'll hand it over. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. So hello, everyone. Great for you to join us this morning for us here in Boston, but different times, I'm sure, for many of you. So glad that you're interested in our department. We see civil and environmental engineering as being at the heart of so many of the pressing challenges facing cities, facing infrastructure systems, facing environmental systems, facing global systems. And so we're constantly innovating our curriculum and our graduate programs in an attempt to be responsive to the current kind of needs that society has for civil and environmental engineers. So I'm Andy Myers. I'm a professor of structural engineering within civil and environmental engineering. I've been here for 14 years now. And I've been overseeing our graduate program for 5 years. So that's my role of why I'm presenting now. And I'm eager to share more about what we're up to. I remember back to when I was choosing a graduate school, and I know how critically important a decision it is. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to share with you all what we're up to. So just some high-level facts about our department. I'm just going to pick a few here to highlight. So Emily already sort of hit some college level metrics, but you can see the size of our department, so nearly 40 tenure and tenure track faculty. This has been a lot of growth since I've been here for the past 14 years. It's been feeling like working on a rocket ship, which is a really exciting place to be, that it's constantly growing and thinking about new ideas in terms of research and in terms of education. If I go to the second row in the gray colors, I'll just hit a few population numbers. Our undergraduate population is the largest among private universities in the country, over 400 undergraduates in our department. And then spread across our graduate program, spread across MS and PhD students, we have about 200, a very thriving cohort of MS and PhD students. Rankings at the bottom, and then some information on our thriving research program here. Next slide, please. All right, so like I mentioned, we're always thinking about what we can do to better train civil and environmental engineers to respond to the issues we see as most impactful for our field to address. So we have a comprehensive list of programs and concentrations within those programs. So I'll just rattle off this list. I'll do it quickly. But we offer an MS in civil engineering, and that comes in 6 different flavors, which you can see at the bottom. Construction management, data and systems, geotechnical, geoenvironmental engineering, structural engineering, transportation, and water environmental coastal systems. We're in our second year now of a degree I was really excited to help launch and develop, which is an MS in climate science and engineering. A lot of interdisciplinary overlap with the College of Science for that degree. We have another interdisciplinary degree, MS in engineering and public policy, where we're partnering with the School of Public Policy and Urban Affairs. We offer a MS in environmental engineering and MS in sustainable building systems, a partnership with our School of College of Arts, Media, and Design and the School of Architecture. Just this year, we have a brand new joint degree with University College in Dublin called MS in Sustainability Engineering Leadership. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then at the PhD level, we offer two PhDs, PhD in Civil and Environmental Engineering and a PhD in Interdisciplinary Engineering. You'll sort of pick up from the tenor of my remarks that we really emphasize interdisciplinarity here in this department. When we get to you can sort of see it already in the types of degrees that we're offering, and you'll see it more when we talk about research and our faculty makeup. Next slide, please. All right, so depending on whether you're interested in a master's degree or a PhD degree, there are different requirements. So at the master's level, all of the different master's programs and concentrations I just mentioned require 32 semester hours of coursework. And so our courses here are 4 semester hours each for the most part. There is some variation to that, but for the most part, they're 4 semester hours, so that's 8 courses. And then depending on the program and the concentration, the organization of the degree will be different. Some have required courses, some have a group of restricted electives, some have a grouping of general electives. And again, it's a sort of a program and concentration specific set of requirements. So folks doing a master's degree have 3 options. They can do a coursework only option where they just complete 32 semester hours of courses. We make it possible to do our master's degrees, most of our master's degrees within 1 year, but most of our students take longer than that. We have 2 other options for the master's degree. So those are a thesis and a master's report or project. So the master's report or project takes the place of one of your courses. It's equal to 4 semester hours worth of effort, involves working one-on-one with a faculty member on a topic of mutual interest, and does not necessarily need to be what we call original research. The thesis, though, is required to be original research. It's equal to 2 courses or 8 semester hours worth of effort. And again, it's a one-on-one relationship and project where you and an advisor find something of mutual interest and work on it together. At the PhD degree, for folks coming in with a bachelor's degree, we require 48 semester hours of coursework. And then for folks coming in with a master's degree already in hand, we require 20 semester hours of coursework. And these aren't kind of prescribed in the same way as our master's programs are. And it's a coordination between you and your advisor about what specific courses you would take. In addition to the coursework requirements for the PhD, we also have a qualifying exam that, depending on whether you're starting with an MS or a PhD degree, you will take either a year and a half or 2.5 years into your time. We have a dissertation proposal presentation that occurs 1 year after the qualifying exam. And then at the very end, a dissertation defense, where in front of the public and in front of a committee, you will defend your dissertation research. Next slide, please. Just want to highlight a couple of those specific programs that I described earlier. Like I mentioned, this program we're in our second year, launched it last fall. It's called the MS in Climate Science and Engineering, and is significantly interdisciplinary with the College of Science. So the intent here is you learn both the fundamentals of science of climate systems while also getting an understanding for the engineering strategies and technologies that will be required for decarbonization and adaptation. So this degree is really at the intersection of science and engineering. And it builds skills through a combination of core requirements and restricted electives. Next slide, please. Another one of our interdisciplinary degrees is our MS in Engineering and Public Policy. We've had this for several years now, and it's a really interesting set of coursework that these students take both from the College of Engineering and from the School of Public Policy and Urban Affairs. This degree recognizes the key importance of understanding engineering and policymaking when crafting policies that, at the state or federal level are affecting huge portions of people. Next slide, please. Another one of our interdisciplinary degrees is our MS in Sustainable Building Systems. So this is also we've offered for a few years now, jointly with our College of Arts, Media, and Design, specifically the School of Architecture. And here you'll be looking at all the non-structural building systems that are such a key part of embodied and operational carbon of infrastructure systems. And so you'll get a sense of what those issues are, how to measure them, and design strategies in order to mitigate the carbon impact of building systems. Next slide, please. All right, so this one is brand new this year. It's a really interesting joint degree with University College in Dublin in Ireland. It's called the MS in Sustainability Engineering Leadership. And so it involves coursework in Boston and in Dublin, first year in Boston, second year in Dublin. It also involves a leadership or challenge project where you're working with industry in order to pursue a problem sort of at the intersection of leadership and engineering. Next slide, please. So at the graduate level, we also offer certificates. And so these are, you can kind of think of them like a minor at the undergraduate level. So it's just a way of kind of recognizing an area of specialization that you're choosing to pursue with an additional credential. So in addition to your MS degree, if you decide to pursue one of these certificates, you'd also receive a certificate that would show up on your transcript. I currently have two. So the first is called our certificate in sustainability engineering. It involves 16 semester hours, so that's 4 courses. And many times these can be integrated within your degree requirements of your existing program. So you can sort of meet the requirements of the certificate as part of your requirements for another program. This particular certificate is looking at breadth. So we define sustainability challenges from an engineering and infrastructure perspective. And see how we can use engineering tools to understand and address the many, many challenges related to sustainability that civil and environmental engineering is equipped to address. Next slide, please. The second certificate we offer is a certificate in climate and engineering. And so while the first one was intended to be a little bit more broad, even folks not in our department, certainly, and perhaps not even in the College of Engineering, that the certificate is designed to address that kind of population. This certificate is designed more for civil and environmental engineering specific majors. It's 12 semester hours and lets you demonstrate and recognizes your expertise in climate and engineering. And like I mentioned, it can be woven within the requirements of another degree. So if you're choosing a particular concentration or program, it's possible that as part of those requirements, you will also hit the certificate requirements for this certificate. Next slide, please. So at the graduate level, I wanted to give you a sense of our leadership. So I oversee the graduate program, the master's and PhD programs. So both the curricular, mostly looking at the curricular aspects related to the graduate program. My colleague, Professor Amy Miller, is the co-leader of our committee that is overseeing the graduate program. And then in terms of research, so for the master's students who are thinking about doing a project or a thesis, and of course for PhD students, research is a core part of your education here. We have an associate chair for research, Professor Yang Zhang. Next slide, please. All right, so this is our department. This is showing the faculty within our department. Our department is really proud of the fact that we have, I think it's something like 10 of our tenured and tenure track faculty are jointly appointed within another college. And I think that is just a really clear example of how carefully we are thinking about interdisciplinarity and how important we think interdisciplinarity is to solving these complex problems that civil and environmental engineers are trying to solve. You can see here folks are organized by concentrations, and these are very loose boundaries. We're all kind of working between these concentration areas. But in terms of an organizational scheme, we associate faculty with each concentration. And then the folks highlighted in yellow are a part of a cross-cutting concentration we have, the data and systems concentration. And so you can see folks from many different concentration areas are involved in that particular concentration and its teaching of its coursework. Next slide, please. So our department, like I mentioned, we see our kind of core, and you see the center of this diagram as urban engineering. We are on the Boston campus, as Emily mentioned. The programs we're talking about today are on the ground in Boston, although Northeastern has a much larger network, as was mentioned. But here we're in an urban location. We're in a terrific location right in the heart of Boston, and we are focusing on urban engineering. We organize that, if you go to the ring outside of urban engineering, we organize that into 3 different areas, and those relate very clearly to university level initiatives of research in terms of health, security, and sustainability. So the university recognizes these areas as important. The world, if you look at if you look at sort of UN global challenges and things like that, many of these issues are right at the heart of civil and environmental engineering. Next slide, please. And one more, please. So we have a couple of campuses that are very close to our Boston campus, so suburbs of Boston. One where I am active and several of our faculty are active is in a town called Burlington, about 20 minutes or so north of Boston, where we have a campus that has several buildings. One of which houses the Laboratory for Structural Testing of Resilient and Structural Systems. And so you can see a picture of that lab in the lower right. It's a state-of-the-art, reconfigurable, customizable, large-scale structural testing laboratory where I do large-scale experiments where we look at innovative structural ideas and see how they behave under extreme loads and other types of conditions that the structure will see. Next slide, please. A second campus, sort of very close to Boston, and also about 20 minutes or so north of the city, but on the coast, obviously, as you're seeing here from this gorgeous picture of the campus, is in a suburb of Boston called Nahant. And Nahant is where our Marine Science Center is located, where our Department of Marine and Environmental Science is located. And this is a department where we have a long-standing partnership. I already mentioned how many of our faculty are jointly appointed between multiple colleges. We have 7 or 8 of our jointly appointed faculty have appointments with the Marine and Environmental Science Department. And so it's an area where we see a lot of opportunity for impact for interdisciplinary teaching and research. Next slide, please. Okay, so a bit about co-op. So co-op is in the very bones of the university. The College of Engineering started the co-op program over 100 years ago. We just celebrated our 115th anniversary of co-op. It pervades our thinking of how we're designing our experiential educational experience for our students. Graduate co-op is kind of relatively newer, doesn't have a 100-year history. It has maybe a 5 or so year history, but it is a growing part of our student experience. And so our master's and PhD students are available to pursue co-op opportunities as part of their studies. And we have 2 full-time dedicated co-op coordinators, Jess Ormsby on the left and Nora Salmon on the right, as well as some other folks who can help more specifically with global opportunities in different countries. But yeah, we see co-op as a hugely important part of education, and we're really eager to ramp up our participation among graduate students in co-op. So what do Jess and Nora do, our co-op coordinators? They have 2 responsibilities. They are constantly making relationships with employers, finding new opportunities for our students that are interesting, impactful, and enriching, a key part of their education. And they're simultaneously developing relationships with students and helping them with their professional development skills in terms of resume writing and interviewing, how to cultivate a presence on LinkedIn, and just general preparation for the professional working environment. So they get to know the students, they get to know what their goals are after their education here, and they set them up with a co-op experience as part of their education that will help to advance them towards their goals post-graduation. Next slide, please. So you can read this on your own later, but I just want to briefly highlight some of the requirements of co-op. So I think the one I really want to highlight is more philosophical, and that is that co-op by design is integrated within your coursework requirements. So because of that, it can't be at the very start of your studies and it can't be at the very end of your studies. We intentionally want you to have a base of coursework, go out with that in your pocket into a co-op experience, and then having that co-op experience in hand, come back to your courses with that kind of perspective of how this content is used in the working or professional environment. And it's just such a virtuous cycle that I've seen many times over for having students integrate co-op experiences within their coursework. And then there's some rules for GPA qualifications, and there's a course that folks have to take before pursuing a co-op. And you can read this on your own. Next slide, please. And that's passed to you, Emily.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy, for going in depth and covering all of the programs that the Civil and Environmental Department has to offer. I want to talk a little bit about next steps. I know we have a variety of attendees at today's webinar, so some of you might already be accepted to be joining us in either spring or fall. And if that's the case, we're very excited to welcome you to campus. But I know a majority of you are probably just beginning the application process and considering your options. This slide here is for anybody who may already be admitted and is just kind of a reminder, a nice roadmap layout of what your next steps will look at as far as confirming your enrollment, paying that enrollment fee. For those of you joining us from internationally, applying for your I-20, getting your visa secured. We will pass it over to Melanie in just a bit for a little bit of the student perspective, but I know a lot of times there's lots of questions about moving to Boston and what that's like, securing housing and things like that. And before we officially go to the ambassador slide, I just want to plug our wonderful student ambassadors because I know there's a lot of questions and anxiety that comes with these next steps, and our students are always our #1 resources for answering those questions. Of course, we're happy to assist in admissions, but our students who are currently in these programs and living it are amazing resources. I just want to remind everyone of some of the deadlines that are upcoming. I'll start with spring 2026 as that cycle is rapidly coming to a close, as it's crazy that we're already in October. The deadline to apply for spring 2026 admission is November 1st for all international students, either currently living in or outside of the US, and December 1st for our students currently residing in the US. And I'm sure many of you are curious about the fall 2026 application process and those deadlines. A couple different deadlines in this case here. December 1st is going to be the priority deadline for all PhD applications. Of course, we do continue to review and consider applications for PhD past December 1st, but that is going to be that priority deadline to receive priority in application review. January 15th is going to be the MS priority deadline. Again, as you can see, we do continue to accept MS applications all the way through June, July, and August, depending on the case. But in order to receive that priority review, we do recommend applying by January 15th. And again, June 1st is the final deadline there for any international students outside the US. July 1st if you're an international student currently residing in the US, and August 1st if you are currently living in the US or Canada. I know that we've received a couple questions so far about an application fee waiver. At this time, we no longer require an application fee for all of our master's programs. So if you do plan to apply to any master's program, you no longer have to worry about that application fee. That no longer exists. You'll only have to pay your enrollment deposit if you are accepted. However, if you are considering applying to a PhD program, there still is a required $100 application fee. But we do promote attendance to these kinds of events and webinars. So if you do plan to apply to a PhD program, just note that there will be an application fee associated, but you can use the application fee provided or fee waiver code provided here. You must enter it prior to hitting submit to your application. But that code is going to be apply COE 2026. I'll type it in the chat before the webinar ends just so you can copy and paste it because it is spelling and case sensitive. Some other requirements, whether you're applying to an MS or PhD program, we do require 2 letters of recommendation. Of course, we do recommend academic references if you have those available, but we do accept professional references as well. You'll need to submit your unofficial transcripts at the time of application, a statement of purpose, your resume. If you are joining us from internationally and you do not have English as a mode of instruction at your current university or where you received your degree, we do require either the IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo English proficiency exam. And you can see here that GRE is crossed out. We do not require the GRE for admission. However, if you have taken it and you believe that your scores will supplement your application, you are more than welcome to submit those scores. This slide here highlights some current scholarships that we are running. Currently, a lot of these scholarships do pertain to programs that are available on our global campuses. We are continuously updating this information on our website, and I do encourage you to keep an eye on this. And again, this pertains to the Graduate School of Engineering as a whole and not necessarily programs that we covered in today's webinar. But I know that we often do receive many questions regarding scholarships. So I always encourage anyone applying to keep up to date on our website for any new scholarships. And with that, I will go ahead and hand it over to Melanie. We do have graduate student ambassadors for most all of our MS and PhD programs. And again, we do encourage you to reach out to our ambassadors. So Melanie, if you don't mind just introducing yourself and talking a little bit about your experience thus far at Northeastern. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. My name's Melanie Marino, and I'm a current PhD student in the Civil and Environmental Engineering department. But I also just recently finished with my master's in the Engineering and Public Policy program. So my research is a little more policy oriented, and my research area is in sustainability in the healthcare sector. So definitely rises to the kind of interdisciplinary kind of expectation at Northeastern, which is awesome. I get to do a lot of interdisciplinary research and work. And so I also moved to Boston not having been here before. So I have lots of experience with, moving to a new city, getting used to all the new things that comes with it. And it was definitely made easier with some of Northeastern's resources, like the roommate and housing profile. That's where I found both of my current roommates and friends. So Northeastern definitely has a lot of resources to make kind of transitioning and moving to a new city a lot easier. But if you have any further questions about either the programs that I'm in or any about moving to a new city in general, things to do in Boston, feel free to reach out to me or any of the other student ambassadors. I can drop my email in the chat if you have any program-specific questions. But yeah, the ambassadors are here to help you with anything from finding out which grocery stores are closest to where you move, but also any program-specific questions. So feel free to reach out to us with any of those questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Melanie. So that concludes most of the content in today's webinar. This slide here offers some ways to keep in touch with us. Like we said, we will include our information in the chat, but there are lots of information and FAQs available on our website. Of course, when you're going through the application process, if you have any questions at all, our admissions team is happy to assist. You can reach out to our coe-gradadmissions@northeastern.edu email address. You can see here the student ambassador email address. And if you scan the QR code on the previous slide, there's many, many ways to keep in touch with our graduate ambassadors. So again, at any point in the process, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're more than happy to connect you back with the department and faculty if you have specific questions. And we do have some time now at the end of our presentation. I know there's been some great questions that have already come through the Q&A, but I see a couple more in there now that we can answer live. So we'll kick it off. I will pose this question to you, Andy. Is there any specific entry requirement or eligibility criteria for the MS in Climate Science and Engineering program?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are intentionally have that degree designed for folks with a broad background. You need I'm not going to be able to answer this in kind of any kind of satisfying way because I mean, some sort of clear way because we've intentionally designed this degree to be open to a broad audience. But just sort of generally speaking, some degree of technical literacy and scientific literacy is expected, but certainly we get folks with all sorts of interesting backgrounds that are pursuing that degree, and many of them do not have an undergrad degree in civil and environmental engineering. I would say a good portion have an undergrad degree in engineering. Others, we have physicists, we have mathematicians, we have scientists as well. I would say some degree of technical literacy from an undergraduate program, but what that means is very broadly defined.
Thank you. And I think the next question here in our Q&A is pretty similar in the sense this attendee has a background as an agriculture major, but they're interested in doing the thesis-based master's for the climate science and engineering program. And they're basically asking if that's possible. And to my understanding, as long as, like Andy mentioned, there's kind of that technical background. I don't know if you have any additional advice for this student.
I'll just make two comments. So I see agricultural engineering students in our application pool kind of regularly. It's not uncommon for us to see students like that, especially for these kind of broad degrees like climate science and engineering. You know, we're going through each application in detail to kind of see if the background is appropriate. But on the face of it, what I'm hearing definitely sounds in the realm of appropriate. But of course, we have to go through the details. And then within the climate science and engineering degree, and with all our programs and concentrations, for those of you who want a thesis to be a part of your experience, all of our degrees and programs offer that. And so the key step there is early on, you want to find an advisor and pick a project that you and the advisor are both mutually interested in. And as soon as you get that set up, and that can happen in your first semester on campus, then you can hit the ground running and start making progress on your research idea.
Awesome, thank you. This attendee is just, I think, generally looking for some info regarding the PhD program, research opportunities within civil and environmental engineering and also electrical engineering, it looks like. For the latter part of the question regarding funding opportunities, if you are accepted into a PhD program within the College of Engineering, that does come with an automatic 5 years of full funding. just to answer the funding part of the question. But Andy, can you talk just generally to some general PhD research areas or what you typically see for students within the civil and environmental department?
Certainly, and Melanie, if you want to add on after I'm done, please do. So some high level comments. Just like with the master's thesis, the PhD degree, the key step and the key part of your experience is finding an advisor you want to work with on a topic of mutual interest. And I mentioned that very high level scoping of sustainability, security, and environmental issues as kind of how we kind of frame our department. But we've got a really broad portfolio of research programs going on, and you can get a sense of that if you go to our website. You can get a sense for this kind of particular areas that each of our faculty are pursuing. Specifically related to, if I understood the question right, the intersection between civil and environmental engineering and electrical and computer engineering. My colleague I mentioned who leads the graduate studies program with me, Professor Amy Miller, her undergrad and master's degrees are in electrical engineering. She's working with sensors and to solve civil and environmental engineering problems now, development of sensors. We have a joint faculty member, Fatima Garashi, who is jointly appointed with our Curry College of Computer Science, and so also looking at the intersection of computer science and civil and environmental engineering. And there are several other faculty here we have who have problems within the realm of civil and environmental engineering that they're using computer science, electrical engineering techniques to solve. I don't know, Melanie, do you have anything to add on?
I guess I'd add that, yeah, I think I don't know any colleagues or anything that's like their research is strictly into one niche. I think most people in their research, either the research topic is interdisciplinary or the skills that they use for the research is like very interdisciplinary. So yeah, like my research specifically is around sustainability in healthcare. So, and that's a niche, within civil environmental engineering. So I think there's all kinds of opportunities for a variety of types of research based on what your potential advisor is working on.
Thank you both. And there's a question about the funding and how that's distributed and covering tuition fees and accommodation and what that looks like. Melanie, can you talk about just a little bit about how that gets delivered and just kind of the process of receiving that funding?
Yeah, so you get, as a PhD, you get a stipend. So your tuition is waived, and then you get a stipend for, living, accommodation, housing, food, things like that. That's delivered bi-monthly, direct deposit to your bank account. And yeah, with that, you're able to live in Boston, cover all your basic needs, and things like that. And of course, you'll have to do some budgeting. You'll probably have to get a roommate, meet some friends, things like that. But it's definitely doable. And you're still able to do some things on the side, explore the city and things like that. So yeah.
And I'll just add that all of the PhD students in our department are supported for continuously for their entire program here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So one attendee is asking, you mentioned federal funding. With that in flux, what is the outlook for funding for MS programs? I'll just start off by saying that typically funding for our master's programs is pretty rare, even not given the current situation. Typically for master's programs, there are some scholarships that are available that students are eligible for upon application. That's why we do encourage students to apply for any outside scholarships as well. There are minimal funding opportunities for MS students within the department. Andy, I'll let you cover that and what that looks like given the current state of things. But typically funding is not as common for MS programs as per PhD.
Yeah, right, exactly. So for the master's level, from potential changes in funding in the United States, I don't see much of an impact to that at the master's level. And then, as Emily mentioned, we do have a few mechanisms for providing financial support to our master's system. So the scholarshiping program and just being submitting an application, you'll automatically be considered for our scholarshiping program. Um, we also have hourly graders, so folks who are helping with our teaching mission by doing sort of working as a kind of teaching assistant on an hourly basis. We have a whole program for master students that they can use that to supplement their financial resources during their studies here. And then co-op as well. Co-ops are paid and paid competitively. So if you choose to integrate a co-op within your master's experience, that can also be a part of how you financially support yourself.
Thank you. Right, is PhD funding open to international students from other countries? Yes, depending on, if you are accepted into a PhD program, all students who are accepted into a PhD program do receive that 5 years of funding. Again, we do highly encourage applying by that priority deadline. That is when a majority of the PhD applications are reviewed. And, given the situations with funding, we are taking very close looks at everything to ensure that if a student is accepted, that funding is secure. But yes, international students are eligible for that as well. Great questions, everyone. Thank you for submitting those. I know we are nearing the end of our time. We did just get a question that came in regarding the dates for applications. So I will just quickly go back to this slide right here that does contain our application deadlines and recommendations. So this is a great slide to take a screenshot of. All this information is available on our website as well. Again, I do recommend reaching out to admissions if you have any application questions. Please utilize our wonderful student ambassadors. And thank you so much, Melanie, for sharing your experience today. Thank you so much, Andy, for diving into everything civil and environmental engineering here at Northeastern. And it looks like we don't have any other questions popping in. I will share that, of course, this session was recorded. So everybody who's attended will receive a thank you email with a recording of today's webinar. We also do post these recordings to our College of Engineering YouTube page. So any information here today will be available later on as well. So I just want to thank you all so much again for taking time out of your day to attend today's webinar. Again, thank you so much to Andy and Melanie for sharing and for your time today. And we wish you a great rest of your day and look forward to seeing your applications or answering any future questions.
Yeah, folks, thanks so much for joining us. And you can find my email on the website. And please feel free to contact me. I can direct you to the right person if you have any specific questions. So yeah, great to see you all, and good luck with your finding a graduate school.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye. Thanks. See you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.